Hi, I'm Sherry Quam Taylor, and you are listening to the Business Behind Fundraising podcast. Now, today, as we wrap up season 1, we are talking about boards. We are talking about demystifying fundraising challenges for your boards. I know, I'm ending on a big topic. Stay tuned for season 2, where we're going to be digging deeper into boards, teams, how to make them both high ROI generators. So, as my business has grown over the last 9-10 years, I've lost count. I have consistently invested in business coaches for myself. It's been a huge part of my growth strategy. I actually love it. I love learning from other people. It's been really helpful. A lot of the mindset work, a lot of the sales strategies. It's amazing how they translate into what I teach from a fundraising perspective, and especially from an investment level gifts perspective. Now, there was one thing that my coach said to me the other day, and she said that people say to her that they hate sales. And when she digs a little bit, probes a little deeper into that statement, what they're really saying is they hate what they think sales is. They hate what that misconception is of sales, and probably salespeople. And that comment so resonated with me because, as you can imagine, I hear all the time, I hate fundraising. And that comes from boards, that comes from, frankly, executive directors and even fundraising professionals. And so it resonated so deeply with me because every time someone says that to me, I think, well, you hate what you think fundraising is, but if you're actually doing it the right way or a different way or had, a different perspective, I actually don't think you would hate it as much. And so I would ask you, if you're listening to this, if you're a board member, do you hate fundraising? Or do you hate what you think fundraising is? Do you hate what you think people are going to think of you when it comes to fundraising? Because typically those are two very different things. Now, we're going to focus this conversation today on boards. And probably because I just feel that this kind of comment and attitude oftentimes is so prevalent on boards. I recently did a board training, and even on Zoom, I'm doing tons of those these days. And all the board members went around and said who they were and just made one, just kind of introductory comment. And there was a woman who said, "Hi, I'm Kim, and I'm not asking for money." Well, thank you, Kim. Nice to have you. And when I said to her, I said, "Hey, you know what? Great, Kim. Not asking you to ask for money. There are 62 other things you can do as a board member that really contributes to the bottom line and really aligns with your fiduciary responsibility of fundraising." So over these last 24 months, honestly, I've never done more board trainings in my life. I think it was a little bit of oh my goodness, we're going to be on Zoom and we have a captive audience. That's okay. But there's some commonalities that have really boiled down on so many of the trainings. And those commonalities are really rooted in two challenges that I heard. One being expectations. My board doesn't know they're supposed to fundraise. Gee, if they knew they were supposed to fundraise, this would happen. And so it really is all about expectation setting. That I'm going to talk about that heavy in season 2 as we move ahead. Today, I want to talk about that second issue, which is really this comment I made about demystifying fundraising for our boards. Our board members are experts at something else, right? That's actually why we have them at the table. They are professionals. They are leaders in the community. They have other jobs. And so they've never needed to know how to fundraise. They've probably never wanted to know how to fundraise. And so we have to remember that we have to continually educate our boards. Yes, there's board training, but they have to be educated too on what does fundraising look like for them. And so often we've seen, all of these people doing fundraising things and think, well, that must be what I have to do. And that doesn't look very fun. And so we have to make sure that as fundraising staff, as the leaders of the organization, that we are always managing up and really teaching our board members what fundraising looks like. Now, what's the best way to demystify this? I'm going to give you a very practical example. When I do webinars or speak in person, I'm always asked a question like, what do I do about my board? How do I get them to fundraise? And so I think that my answer that I always give, frankly, because I see it work so well, always is a little puzzling at first for people. And so my advice to you, if you're trying to demystify fundraising, I'm going to say especially if you're trying to demystify major gifts, work and activities, I would turn it on you and say, are you modeling it for your board? Have you actually created great donor experiences for each one of your board members, similar to the ones you would want them to participate in, right? We want our board members time. If they can give me 1 or 2 extra hours a month, it has to be on the activities that are going to yield larger gifts. That is not event work. That is not give me 10 names to email. That is not Giving Tuesday. Anybody can do those activities. There are very specific and few people who can do the activities that lead our donors through great donor experiences so that you can secure their best gift. So often our board members don't know what that looks like. Again, experts at something else. It is your job to model that for them. The best way to do that would be to make sure you are creating great donor experiences for your board. Lead them. Show them how it's done. Solicit them. Oh, but Sherry, we have gift gets. I don't care. I want you to solicit them. You've got to model fundraising for them. Otherwise, it is going to continue to be a mystery. The other important reason why I tell my clients to model it for board members is that it really helps board members understand that ask, that dreaded, I'm not asking anybody for money, that ask is one step in the entire development process. And that there are so many other steps along the journey that they should and get to participate in. These are the fun parts, right? If we all want to be honest with ourselves, they need to be playing a supporting role in so many different portfolios and in donors' experiences all year long. And so you have to show them that the ask is one of the steps, but it is not the end-all be-all step. And when they start understanding what that annual process is, all the touch points, how natural we want them to be, and that they get to be themselves, that really demystifies the process and it makes them more comfortable all year long. Now, let's talk about one confession here. There's a question I get often, and that question is, or from board members, and that question is, can we get a script? Because we aren't really sure what to say. And I got to tell you, when I'm asked for a written out elevator speech or a written out script, I do cringe a little bit. If we have an honest confession here moment. Why do I cringe a little bit? Well, because if your donors are calling people to thank them or to just talk about the organization with a script, they are showing up not as themselves. They are showing up as some fundraising version of themselves. We got to get it right. Hopefully I say the right things. And their authenticity is not showing up. I would challenge your board to think about why are you part of this organization? That's what you say. Your donors can hear them reading things. Your donors can hear the nervousness. So I would really encourage you as fundraisers to equip your board members, educate them if they are nervous about telling stories. They need to learn how to speak from the heart and have human to human conversations. And a script so often gets in the way of that. So I don't mean to sound harsh on this topic, but if all fundraisers, executive directors, teams, board members simply speak from the heart, know your content, speak in more of that peer tone, it is going to be a way stronger call. And have fun with it. Be yourself. I want you to show up, not like the fundraising board person, board member person. You need to show up to these calls and be authentic. Your donors can hear that. And that is contagious. That's when they want to play a greater role in your organization. Now, the truth is that too many fundraisers, and we're talking about boards today, they actually avoid doing this kind of work because they feel like they're doing it wrong. And that's actually keeping donors from giving greater gifts from you. It's keeping your board members from introducing their networks to you. Hello, pipeline. And so I want to make sure that you are continually modeling that, mirroring that to them so that there's really no excuse, and that they understand that actually the best version of them showing up in fundraising is the best kind of fundraising. So as we wrap up today, fundraising is not just about asking for money. Fundraising is educating. Fundraising is networking, connecting, talking, sharing. And so if your board is not feeling and seeing this from you, they will continue to be confused by this. Now, I'm really excited to end season 1 talking about boards because I'm going to be talking a lot more about boards here as we head into season 2. One teaser I'll share as we look ahead, I mentioned give gets. I'll be really honest with you, not a huge fan of give gets, frankly, because I see them leaving so much money on the table. I also see them as almost an excuse not to solicit our board members when they need to see us do it. They need to see how great you are at it. They need to see that you're not a pushy salesman and that it's okay to introduce their network to you. So I hope you'll stay tuned and dig deep with high ROI boards and high ROI teams as we head into season 2. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you have enjoyed this episode, be sure to like and share and do all the things. Click the bell to subscribe so that you can get weekly content directly in your inbox. If you are listening to this on an audio podcast, please take a minute to leave an Apple review. I'd greatly appreciate it. Have a great day.